What was the most hate you've ever had in your career? And what was like a stumbling thing? Because I learned, believe it or not, from the Bobby Lee situation when all that shit spiraled.
I had the same thing. I love Bobby, but he's mad at me.
Right now?
And I took responsibility for it. Yeah, well with Bobby, Brendan was getting a lot of hate. And then some people came to us and said, here's where it's coming from. And I made the mistake of jumping to conclusions. I spoke out of turn, and I love Bobby. I've known him I love the guy, and I've known him for way too long. And I was wrong, and I've apologized and everything else. And it's one of my biggest regrets I've ever done. Yes, I love him, man. He's my friend.
I love how me and you both have that same story.
Yeah, but you got to admit, you have to own up to what you did. And and we had a talk, and I said, you're right, I'm wrong, and I'm 100% wrong, and you're 100% right in this. And I jumped to conclusions, and I should have given you the benefit of the doubt, and I didn't. And that's all I have to say about it. I'm not going to make excuses for myself.
How did he take it?
I was outside of myself. I was defending Brendan, who I love. That's my brother. And I got emotional, and I was defending him, and the wrong guy Bobby was 100% the wrong person to
put the heat
on.
Yeah.
And I was just wrong. And sometimes you're just dead wrong, and I was. And I said it, and I've owned it, but it doesn't matter. Sometimes you fuck up, man, and sometimes you have to pay the price. And I hope, I just miss him, but I haven't talked to him in a little bit. Yeah.
Really?
But it's not like that. I mean, I just think Bobby has said, like, he just needs boundaries, man. Bobby was always the guy who was, the funniest guy in the room, but people take advantage.
Because of his heart.
People like, he's a man. You can't treat somebody, especially if you're a friend, with a lack of respect. And I think I did that to him. If I look back on it, I was outside of myself. I had a moment, and it was one of my worst moments. And I have to live with that. But,
how long ago was this?
About, now a year. But it's okay. But either way, I think the lesson is, if you fuck up, and I did, you better own up to it and admit to it. And he didn't deserve it. And I love the guy. So.
What's the best thing you can do for you to be so self-aware, to be like, okay, this was on me, to take full responsibility? Most people don't want to. It's too hard to admit. No, I always do.
If I fuck up, man, I'll own it. And that's all I can say. I'm not perfect. That's the one thing I regret in my life, is speaking to him that way. And I apologize the next day, but it doesn't matter sometimes. Sometimes you say some shit and
cuts deep. Yeah,
and just be careful. Be careful. And I should have known better.
I was reading from the Bible, and it described the tongue as the sharpest sword, and be careful how you thrust it. And it just dawned on me that people always say, "Oh, that cuts deep." How some people are like, "Oh, I forgive you," but sometimes, man, you cut so deep that like it really.
There may not be forgiveness, or it's never the same, or they can't forgive you.
They can forgive you, but they can't forget it.
Yeah, and that's fair, and you have to own that.
Yeah,
But I think, here's the thing about life: keep your promises. Don't take what doesn't belong to you. And if you fuck those two things up, make amends.
Yeah.
Make amends, dude. Don't blame, don't accuse somebody of some shit, or just attack somebody because somebody told you something and then expect you're going to walk away from that. You better be careful about how you do that, especially a friend.
I love your mindset, man. I really do. I really love your mindset. If a lot of men had this type of mindset, I think we'd be in a lot more peaceful circumstances.
Well, maybe I'm more at peace because I tell the truth. Like, just tell the truth, man. I fucked up, and I regret it. And I don't blame Bobby for being mad at me. And we had a talk, man. We had a real talk, after all of it. Then obviously online you get all this crazy shit, but but
especially from his audience. His audience is cutthroat.
Yeah, but they love him, and I get it.
Yeah.
I love him, and they love him. They're like, hey, fucking, what is this bullshit? What are you, a fucking bully or a scumbag? Well, in that moment, I was. I'm not, but in that moment, and especially what's crazy is that the hardest thing is if it was somebody I didn't like, I don't give a fuck. But it's somebody I love, like that guy, who I have history with. We spent a lot of time together, man. That's
You guys are both on Mad TV,
yeah,
correct?
well, we're not at the same time, but I mean, you're talking about a guy who I watched. We were together, like at the Comedy Store and doing stand up, and he's the fucking best. You know, anybody who has a problem with Bobby is that they have the problem. You know.
Yeah.
So don't be surprised if his fans love the shit out of him and come after anybody that fucking treats him poorly.
No, he deserves it.
Yeah, their fans are right. You know, again, this all comes back to if you fuck up in your life, just own it and just take the fucking pain, because you don't hide behind some bullshit, man.
And you'll feel a lot better about yourself with yourself.
Yeah.
But I mean, it seems like you have a really wonderful heart. So I'm sure sometimes people just need time, and I don't doubt that in a little bit he'll realize like, oh, that's a quality person in my life.
I hope
you know?
so. I miss him.
Yeah.
But
No, he'll come around. He'll come, because you know why? The truth will come out, and and you guys are two grown men. And you guys,
I think he
figure it
knows.
out.
You know, we'll you know, I think. But you know, it's like Rogan and I talk about this all the time. Like Joe and I always talk about how important it is just you don't get away with it, man. You're not going to get away with like backing some company you don't really believe in. You're not going to get away with. You just got to be careful. Now you're going to make mistakes. Again, you're going to fuck up. You're going to be told something. Maybe you fuck up, but you just got to make it right.
Yeah.
You're never done learning.
Yeah.
All right. If you guys liked that clip, go ahead and hit that link in my description and watch the full podcast. You will not regret it. Thanks for your support. Love you.